Hello everyone, welcome to the Makri Virtual. Hope you are doing good. Today I'm going to continue with your module, that is the procedural programming module. In the last class we have discussed about the chapter number 9, that is the strings. In the today's class I'm going to start with a new topic, that is chapter number 10, that is structures. So till now we have discussed about the two-dimensional array of characters, right? So let's take a quick review what we have covered in the last class, that is in the yesterday's class. In the yesterday's class we have talked about the two-dimensional array of characters, that is whenever we use more than one strings in an computer, in a program, that is known as the two-dimensional array of characters. So this is, in the last chapter we have studied about the two-dimensional integer array. In this chapter we are going to study the two-dimensional character array, that is when we are using more than one string, that is a two-dimensional array of characters. This is the example that we have discussed. Found is defined as a macro that contains the value 1, and not found is defined as a macro that contains a value 0. So there are two macros that is defined. One is 1, one is found, that is 1, one is not found, that is 0. Then there is a main function, then there is a array that is used. What is the array name? That is a master list that contains 6 rows and 10 columns. These are the 6 rows and these are the 10 columns. It takes the column character by character, that is in every column one character will be stored. Then this is the next concept, that is int flag a, I flag a, that is 3 variables are also declared, that is I, that is flag, and that is a. Then a new array will be declared that has a name, your name, and that is a array of character, that is a 10. This is the program that we have discussed about in the last class. The main concern of this program is that how to use the macro, that is if there is a not found, that will be replaced by the 0. That is if there is a not found, that will be replaced by 0, and if there is a found, that will be replaced by 1. So flag equals to not found, that is a flag is equal to 0, that is a not found. Then if for I equals to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus. There are 3 variables, or there are 3 types that is declared, that is I equals to 0, I is less than equals to 5, I plus plus. Then uses the strcmp function for comparison purpose, that is the for comparison we will discuss about the strcmp. Then see, if a equals to 0, that is if the a is equals to 0, that is double equals to use for comparison purpose, then printf welcome, you can enter the palace, flag equals to found, and then break. So in this we have studied about the comparison function, or we have used the strcmp, that is used for comparing the two strings. If they are equal, they returns the output 0. If they are not equal, the difference between the ASCII value of the non-identical elements, non-identical characters are being give the value. That is, suppose strings are not equal and there are two values, one is a space, one is a, that is not identical, that is not same. So space has a value 0 and the a has a value 65. So 65 minus 0, that is 65, will be given by the strcmp function. Then compare, if it is equals to 0, that is the two strings are equals to, or two strings are equal, then printf welcome, you can enter the palace. Then flag equals to 1, that means set the value of flag by 1, then there is a break statement. Then if flag is equal to not found, that is if flag equals to 0, then printf sorry, you are a transgressor. So there are two if that is used, if it is equal to 0, if it is equal to 1, that is if it is equal to 0, then printf welcome, you can enter the palace. If it is no equals to 1 or equals to 0, then sorry, or 1, sorry, you are a transgressor. This is the for loop that will be used. This is the explanation of this one. This says the variable flag is used to keep a record of whether the control did reach inside the if or not. To begin with, we set the flag to not found. Later, through the loop, if the names match, the flag is set to be found. That is, the flag variable is set to be the found, that is if it is equal to the 0. When the contour reaches beyond the for loop, if flag is still set to not found, it means none of the names in the master list matched with the one that is supplied from the keyboard. The names will be stored in the memory as shown in the figure 9.3. So this is the figure that is used to display how data item will be stored in the memory. So first is AKSHAY, that is Akshay, that is terminated by the null character. Then Parag, that is also terminated by the null character. Then Raman, that is also terminated by the null character. Then Srinivas, that is also terminated by the null character. Then Gopal, the null character. Rajesh, null character. So these are the various strings that is used, and that in this all the strings are terminated by the null characters. Here 654 and 654, 664 etc. are the base addresses of the successive names. As seen from the above pattern, some of the names do not occupy all the bytes that is reserved for them. For example, even though 10 bytes are reserved for storing the name Akshay, it occupies only 7 bytes. That is, although 10 bytes are reserved, but it occupies only 7 bytes. So 3 bytes go waste or goes waste. Similarly, for each name there is some amount of wastage. That is, for every name there is a wastage of the character. So it is better to use the array of pointer to string. That is, we are defining we are dealing with the addresses, not with the value. That avoids the limitation, or that limits the number of bytes that is waste. Then we have studied about the array of pointer to string, that is how to use the array of pointer, that is how to use the pointer variable within the array to the string. As we know, a pointer variable always contains an address. Therefore, if we construct an array of pointer, it would contain a number of addresses. That is, we know that a pointer variable contains only the address. Therefore, if we construct array of pointer, it would contain the number of addresses that is used. Let us see how the names in the earlier example can be stored in the array of pointer. That is how we are using the array of pointers to store the addresses, so that there is no wastage of the bytes that is reserved for the names. So one pointer is used, that is a name, or one array is used, that is a names, and that is of char type. Then uses the various names, that is printing the various names. What are the different names? One is Akshay, one is Parag, one is Raman, one is Srinivas, and one is Gopal, one is Rajesh. In this declaration, names is an array of pointer. So names is an array of pointer that is used. So names is a pointer variable that stores the addresses, not the value. It contains base addresses of the respective names. That is, base address of Akshay is stored in the names 0. That is, the base address of Parag is stored in the names 1. So it is stored at 0, Akshay, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. So it will be stored from 0 to the 5. That is depicted in the 9.4. So this means that will be shown in the figure 9.4. So let's see what is the figure 9.4. Olesam, are you able to hear me? Hello? Yeah, Olesam, are you able to hear me? My voice is audible to you right now? Okay. Then we have discussed that at the name 0, So at the name 0 the Akshay will be stored, at name 1 the Parag will be stored, and then name 2 next will be stored. So it will be stored at the different addresses that start with 0 and end with the number of strings or number of characters, number of string that is used. That will be depicted in this program. First of all, there is Akshay that has a base address 182, Raman that has a base address 195, Srinivas 201, Parag 189, Rajesh 216, Gopal 210. Right. Now, there is a concept of array to pointers or array of pointer. Means we are dealing with the addresses, not with the content, not with the value. That is, we are storing, or we have to store the value addresses of the values. That is the address, for example 82, that will be stored, that contains the Akshay. Now 82 will be stored as a value, or 182 will be stored as a value. So this is 182, that will be stored as a value over here. That has a different address, that is 65514. Then next one is Parag, that is 189 is stored over here, that has a different address. Then 195, that has a different address. 201 different, 210 different, 216 different address. These are the various addresses that will be stored as a value, and these are the various addresses that is used for these addresses. So this says in the two-dimensional array of characters, the string occupied 60 bytes. That is, this string occupied 60 bytes. These are the bytes that is reserved for this one. I can say this, the array of pointer, that is when we are not using the array of pointer, they occupy 60 bytes, and when we are using array of pointers, the string occupy only 41 bytes. That is a saving of 19 bytes. A substantial saving, you would agree. I would agree that there is a saving of the byte, so that the memory requirement is very low. So there is a less usage of the memory. Therefore, one reason to store the string in an array of pointer is to make a more efficient use of available memory. That is, more efficient use of available memory is also required whenever we use the array of pointers. Another reason to use an array of pointers to store strings is to obtain greater use in manipulation of the string. That is shown by the following program. So this is a program that shows, that is exchanging the names using 2D array of characters. So first is main function, then char names dash 10, that is using the 10 columns, and there are n number of rows. This is the 10 columns and there are n number of rows. Then uses the next for loop for printing purpose, for showing the original as well as the duplicate, that is at the second and the third location, that is the Raman and the Srinivas. This is the output. So this is the explanation of the diagram, explanation of the example. Now then we have discussed what are the limitations, as every topic has some limitation and some advantages. So what are the limitations when we are using the array pointer or array of pointer to the string? This is when we are using a two-dimensional array of characters, we are at liberty to either initialize the strings when we are dealing with array, or receive the string uniques, or using scanf function. However, when we are using an array of pointer to string, we can initialize the string at the place where we are declaring the array, but we cannot receive the string from the keyboard using the scanf. Therefore, the following program will never work. This program will work if we are using the scanf function. Why? Because this contains addresses. So this is the solution, that is uses scanf and then storing their addresses in an array of pointer to the string, like this one. Scanf, that is used to get the name, then uses the len variable to calculate the length. Then there is a p equals to malloc, that is a malloc function is used to dynamically get the memory, that is a malloc function. Then uses the for loop and uses the printf statement for printing the different values. Here we have first received a name using the scanf in a string n. Therefore, then we have found on its length, that is using the strlen function. This is the function that is used to calculate the length of the name that is given by the user. Then the memory will be allocated by using the name, by using the function, that is a malloc function. This function requires a number of bytes to be allocated and returns the base address of the chunk of memory that it's allocate. The address returned by this function is always of the type void pointer, that is always it will return the type or the return the output as the address that is a void. But why do we not use array to allocate the memory? This is because with array we have to commit to the size of the array at the time of writing the program. That is, at the writing of program we have to commit about size of the array. Unlike this, using malloc we can allocate memory dynamically during execution. Once we have allocated the memory using malloc, we have copied the name received through the keyboard into this allocated space and finally stores the address of the allocated chunk in the appropriate element of names, that is the array of pointer to string. This solution suffers in performance because we need to allocate memory and then to copy the string from each name that is received through the keyboard. Now let's see about the summary. What is the summary? A string is nothing but an array of characters that is terminated by the null character. Being an array, all the characters of a string are stored in contiguous memory location. That is, side by side it will be stored in a contiguous memory location. Though scanf can be used to receive multi-word string, gets can do the same job in a cleaner manner. That is, in the same way scanf we can use the gets function to clean the or to receive the multi-words strings. Both printf and puts are used to print the multi-word string. Then these are the four functions that we have discussed. Then 2D array can be used to handle several strings. That is, an array of characters is used to store with an array of strings. Then malloc function is used to allocate the space in memory on the fly during execution of the program. So these are the various topics that we have discussed about in this chapter. Now let's talk about the next chapter, that is the structure. So let's start with the chapter number 10. What is the chapter number 10? That is the structures. So now let's start with the today's topic. This is the next topic. Till now we have discussed how to use the data type like int, float, double. That is a predefined data type that we have used or we are using. But what if I want that I want to create my own data type? That is the next criteria, that is the next opportunity for the programmer. That opportunity is fulfilled and then programmer creates their own user defined data type. That is, programmer create their own data type, that is that is known as the user defined data types. So chapter number 10 is the structure, that is nothing but the user defined data types, that is the structures. So why use structure? That is why we use the structures. Then declaring a structure, then how to access the structure elements, then how structure elements are stored. That means first of all why we are using the structures, then how to declare the structure, how to access the structure elements, then how structure elements are stored, then array of structure, additional features of structure, uses, summary, exercise. So these are the few topics that is covering or that we have to cover in the structure topic, that is chapter number 10, structures. This says which mechanic is good enough who prints how to repair only one type of vehicle? Nothing, because there is no mechanic that is going to repair all types of or only one type of vehicle. Same thing is true about the C language. It would not have been so popular had been able to handle only int, float and char at a time. In fact, we have to handle real world data, that is, we don't usually deal with little atoms of the information by themselves like integer and so on. Instead we deal with the entity, that is a collection of things, each thing having some attributes. That is, till now we are dependent on the int, float and the double. But what happens if I want the new thing, if I want the new criteria that is stored or that will be stored in the that is a collection of the thing that is used to store the various data. Just as the entity we call a book, that is a collection of things like title, author, call number, publisher, number of pages, date of publication. So this is the example that shows how we can, or how we of the different settings, or how we of the different collection of things such as title, such as author, and so on, various things that is available about the book. As you see, all this data is dissimilar. That is, author is a string, number of pages is an integer. So all this data that we stored about the book, that is title, author, call number, all these are the our different data types. So how we access different data type? That solution is provided, or that is provided by the data type. That means we have to use different data type in a single entity. That is our main motto. So C provides a data type known as the structure. That means for dealing with such scenarios, such collection in which there is a dissimilar data type, one is int, one is char, one is float, for example. In such a case, C provides a data type that is known as the structure. That is the next data type, that is a user-defined data type that is used to store the user-defined data types. A structure gathers together different atoms of information that comprise a given entity. That is, a structure gives, or a structure combines all together different atoms, different types of data type, different types of data that is, or that comprises, or that comprise a given entity. So that is given a name, that is given a unique name that comprises various parts, various types of data. And structure is the topic of this chapter. So this is the chapter that shows how structure will be used, and that contains multiple data types. So why we are using the structures? We have seen earlier that how ordinary variable can hold one piece of information, and how can array can hold a number of pieces of information of the same data type. These two data type can handle a great variety of situations. That is, these two data type have shown or can handle a great variety of instruction. What are the two information that hold? That is one piece, or how array will be. That is how multiple pieces, or how single piece can be used to hold the information. But quite often we deal with the entities that are a collection of dissimilar data type. That is, till now we have studied about the array, that is a collection of only similar data type. All are of int, all are of double, or all are of float. Means we have studied till now about the collection of similar data type, but now it's a time to move on. That is, when we collect more than one data type, that is a different data types. One is float, one is int, one is char, one is string. That concept is provided by the structure. So structure is nothing but a collection of dissimilar data types. For example, suppose you want to store data about a book. You might to store its name, that is the book name, its price, that is in float. Float means that is in decimal, and number of pages in int, that is an int. So you might want to store the name, price, and the number of pages. The name will be given in a string, price will be given in a float, and the number of pages will be given in an int. If the data about, say, 3 such books is to be stored, then we can follow two approaches. What are the two approaches that we follow? Construct the individual arrays, one for storing the names, another for storing the prices, and still another for storing the number of pages. Next approach is that use a structure variable. So if I'm defining, or if I define the individual array, it is a too lengthy process, because all are of integer type, all are of names are of character type, prices are of float type. So we have to define multiple. In one line we have to define the character array, next line integer array, next line float array. So if I use the structure variable, so it's also possible to store such variable. Now let us examine these approaches one by one. For the sake of programming convenience, that is for the sake of simplicity, we assume that the book, or the name of the book, would be a single character long. That is, if the name is available, or the name of the book is available, that is of single character. Now let us begin with the program that uses the array. So let us begin with the main program that uses only the array. So first of all, main function will be used. Then uses the variable that is the character array. So in this is the first step, or this is the first approach, that is we have to define, or we will define in different lines different variables. That is in the first line, the char name 3, that is the name is the array name, and that is of character type that contains only 3 variables, or that contains only 3 data, that is from 0 to 2. Then float price 3, that is float is a data type, price is the array name, and 3 is the number of variable, number of item that is stored in the float. The int pages, that is also of 3, that contains 0 to 2, and that is of integer type. Then printf, enter the names, enter the prices, enter number of pages of 3 books. That is printf is used to get the input from the user. That is a printf. That is first of all, enter the names, enter the prices, and enter the number of pages. So enter the names. Names means 3 names, that is 0, 1, 2 of 3 books, as well as the prices, as well as the number of pages. As there are 3 prices, 3 books, and 3 pages, that is 0, 1, 2, so it is used as a printf statement, or it is used while using the loop. Which loop is used? That is for loop, that is I equals to 0, I is less than equals to 2. So it starts with 0 and ending with the 2. Then there is a I++. Then uses the scanf. First of all, there is a name that will be stored by using the %c. There is a price that will be stored by %f. There is a number of pages that will be stored by %d. By the number of pages contains, or that is of integer type, and the price is of float type, and the char name is of character type. So uses %c, %f, %d. Then uses %name I, %price I, %page I. So at the first time it will be stored at the 0 location. That is at the 0 location, name or the 0 location, name will be stored. At the 0 location, price will be stored. At the 0 location, pages will be stored. That is one book, that is the first book, has a name, first book has a price, first book has a pages. Now I++, that is I will be incremented. Now I become 1, that is name I at the first location, price, at the first location, pages. Then I++, that becomes 3, that is name 3, price 3, pages 3. So this is name 3 at the third location, price 3, third location, pages 3, third location. This will be used to store the data into the memory. That is, for loop is used to store the data, and for loop is used to get the data or stored in the memory. Now printf, and this is what you have entered. This is what we have entered, that is done by the printf, that also uses the for loop. So this is the for loop that is used to get the data into the memory or store the data into the memory. Then next printf is used to print the data into the memory. Then uses the I equals to 0, I is less than equals to 2, I++. Then again uses the printf statement, %c, f, d. Then name I, price I, pages I. At the same 0 location, the 3 entities will be printed. 1 location, 3 entities will be printed. 2 location, 3 entities will be printed. And this is a specifier that is used, %c, f, and the d. And this curly brace will be opened, and this curly brace will be closed. So this is a program that shows how we are going to cover, or how we are storing the data or dissimilar data, that is, one is of character, one is of float, one is of int. How we are storing the different data as well as printing the different data like char, float, and int by using 2 different for loops without using the variable, that is structure. Here is a simple run. Enter the name, prices of 3 books. User have entered about the name A, 100, 354. 354 is the pages. C is the name of the book, 256.50, 682 is the number of pages. Then F is the name of the book, 233.70 is the price, and then 512 is the number of pages. And that is what you have entered. This is what we have entered about this. This approach no doubt allows you to store the names, prices and the number of pages. But as you must have realized, it is unwidely approach that obstruct the fact that you are dealing with the group of characteristics that is related to the single entity, that is the book. The program becomes more difficult to handle as the number of items related to the book goes on increasing. Suppose my requirement is that we have to increase the content, we have to increase the number of items. Till now we are dealing with the name, price and the page number. But maybe a condition that we are dealing with the name, price, page number, author, content item. So there are a number of items that goes increasing. So it is become, or it is difficult to handle all such situations. For example, we will be required to use a number of arrays if we also decide to store name of the publisher, date of purchase. So we have to define multiple arrays also. In the next line we have to define the publisher name by using the string, date of purchase by using the date variable, and so on. To solve this problem, C provides a special data type. What is the name of the special data type? That is a structure. So structure is a special data type that is available for the to store the dissimilar data type. Dissimilar data type means different data types. One is of int, one is of char, one is of double, for example. So now what is a structure? A structure contains a number of data types that is grouped together. That is, when we are grouping together multiple data types or multiple types of data type, that is known as the structure. These data types may or may not be of same type. That is, may or may not be that is of same type. The following example illustrates the use of this data type. Now, starting with the main function, that is a main, then uses the curly braces, then struct book, that is, the book is the structure that is available. So what is the name of the structure? That is a book, and this is the keyword that is used. So struct is mandatory in every case. That is, keyword struct is used whenever we have to define the structure. That has a name. What is the name of the structure? That is, the name is book. In this, curly braces are open. Then define the different data type. That is, name is of character, price is of float, pages is of int. So three variables are declared. One is name, one is price, one is pages. The name is of character type, the price is of float type, and the pages is of int type. Then close this structure by using the curly braces, and then that will be terminated by the semicolon. So this is a structure that is used, that is a book that contains three variables: name, prices and the pages. Then this is a mandatory condition. When we are defining the structure always terminated by the semicolon. So at the end there is a semicolon, that is very mandatory. Then we have to define the variables of the structure, that is a book. So book is the structure name that has different variables like B1, B2, B3. So we have to define the variable like B1, B2, B3. So this means structure is a main thing, and we have to define the variables of the structure also, so that we can get, or we are able to access different data type, or we are able to access different types that will be accessed by using the variables, that is B1, B2 and the B3. Right. Now and so the concern is that how to declare the variables of the structure variable, that is, how to declare the variables that is using the structure. For example, this is the structure. So first of all, the struct keyword is used, and then name of the structure, that is the same concept. Then along with that there are three variables that is used. One is B1, B2, B3. So these are the three variables of the structure, that is a structure book. Then uses the printf statement, that is uses the printf for printing purpose. that is enter names, prices and the number of pages of 3 books. So this will be printed in a line. Why? Because it will be using the percentage or slash n. Then scan uses the scanf. This is the scanf that is used. Uses the percentage C, percentage F, percentage D. Why percentage C? Because the name is of character type. Why percentage F? Because the price is a float. Why pages? Why D? Because pages are in integer type, are of integer type. This is the main concern that will be used, most important part. Now, how we are able to access the elements, how we are able to access the data in the structure by using the dot operator. So we are using the variables of the structure to get the data elements of the structure. These are the data elements. How we are defined to get, or how we are defined to store these data, these elements, by using different variables of the structure, that is a book. How we can get or how we can access by using the dot operators, right? Then uses the ampersand b1 dot name, ampersand b1 dot price, ampersand b1 dot pages. So these are the variable that is used, that is uses the ampersand b1 dot name, b1 dot price, b1 dot pages. In the same way, next is used for the b2, that is b1 is used to get the variable, or b1 variable is used to get the information about the 3 elements, that is name, price and the pages, that is available for only one book. Then in the next scanf, the b2 is used, that is b2 dot name, b2 dot price, b2 dot pages. In the same way, ampersand is used, right? Then at the end there is a b3, that is b3 dot name, b3 dot price, b3 dot pages. So 3 variables are used for getting the different elements, for getting the 3 elements, that is b1, b2 and the b3. And this is what we entered. So this is the next line that is printed, that is printf. Enter, this will be printed as it is, that is, and this is what we have entered, that is what you have entered, that is uses the, then uses the printf, again uses the printf. Then in the printf statement, the b1 dot name will be used, b1 dot price will be used, b1 dot pages will be used. So this means this is used for storing the input into the memory by using the ampersand operator. This is ampersand, this is ampersand. But then we have to print the data by using only the b1 dot name, b1 dot price and b1 dot pages. Then we do not use the ampersand operator. Why? Because this had already stored in the memory. So why we are using that? We are simply using b1 dot name, b1 dot price, b1 dot pages, right? Then curly braces will be closed. So this is the main function curly brace that will be closed over here. This is the structure curly braces, or this is the structure element curly braces that will be used. So what is the structure name? That is a book, and there are 3 different elements that will be using. One is the name, one is the price, and one is the char, one is a float, one is a integer. And then structure variable is terminated or closed by using the semicolon. So this is the output. Enter the name, prices, or the number of pages of 3 books. Suppose user have entered A, first name of the book 100.00 354. Why this is 100.00? Because we have defined the price as a float. So we have to define about the 0.00 also, because we have defined about the float, right? In the same way, 0.70, 0.50, and this is the number of pages, that is 354, 682, 512. And this is what you have entered, that is what you have entered about this one. This program demonstrates 2 fundamental aspects of structure, that is this program we have discussed. This shows 2 aspects of structures. One is how to declare and how to access the structure element. This is the declaration part, this is the declaration part, and this is the access part by using the dot operator. Now next topic is, now let's discuss these topics one by one, that is how to declare and how to access the structure elements. So first of all, declaring a structure, that is how to declare a structure. In our example program, the following statement declare the structure type. Which statement? The following statement. This is the following statement that is used to define the structure. That is struct book, char name, float price, int pages. That is in the struct book that will be used. The struct is a keyword, book is the structure name. Yeah, remember, book is the name of the structure and struct is the keyword that is used when we are declaring the structure. That is struct book, and curly braces open, then there are three variables that is stored. One is a name, that is of character type. One is a price, that is of float type. One is a pages, that is of integer type. Then that will be terminated by the curly braces, and at last that will be terminated by the semicolon. So whenever a semicolon is occupied or occurs, that means the ending of the structure variable. This statement defines a new data type that is known as the struct book. Means a new data type will be used that contains multiple parts of the or multiple dissimilar data, like name, that is char, like pages, like that is of float, and the price, pages, that is of int, and the price, that is of float. Each variable will consist of a data type that consists of character variable, name, float, price, integer variable, pages. The general form is this one. This is the general form. That is, first of all, struct keyword will be used, then uses the structure name, then curly braces will be used, then uses the structure element 1, structure element 2, structure element 3. Then that will be terminated by the semicolon. So this is known as the declaration of the structure. Then how to access the data? This says once a new structure has been defined, one or more variable has been declared of that type. So we have to define, or we are able to define the variable or the one or more variable that is declared of that type only. That type means the char type or the structure type. For example, the variables b1, b2 and b3 can be declared to be of type struct book. That is, we have declared the next type, we have declared the type that is of structure, that type that can be declared as one of the type, that is struct book. So b1, b2 and b3 are used as the structure variable, that is struct book. This statement is set aside space in the memory. That is, three variables are used and these three variables are getting the space in the memory. That is, a space will be reserved for the b1, a space will be reserved for the b2, and the space will be reserved for the b3. It makes available space to hold all the elements in the structure. In this case, 7 bytes, that is 1 byte for name, 4 bytes for the price, and 2 bytes for the pages. Why 1 byte for name? Because the char contains 1 byte. Why price 4? Because the price is of float type that contains 4 bytes. Why pages is of 2 type? Because it is of integer type that contains 2 bytes. These bytes are always in adjacent memory location. That is, these bytes are generally used or placed in the contiguous memory location, that is, one after the another. If we so desire, we can combine the declaration of the structure type and the structure variable in one statement. That is, we can also define one statement, that is, we also define the declaration of the variable as well as the structure in one line. That is, this one, this is the example, that is same as the this one. That is, there is no need to write the this one, but instead in place of semicolon, that is behind the semicolon, we have to declare the variable, that is b1, b2 and b3. Right, so this is the same, either we use this one No. Structure variables are not declared over here, but it is declared after the curly brace, because this means this curly brace shows that these are the elements, and after the curly brace it will show that these are the variable. So either we use in the next line, either we use after the curly brace but before the semicolon, that is in between the curly brace and in between the semicolon. This is same as this one. Either we use at this one, that is after the curly brace but before the semicolon, or even we can also use like this one. Same. That is only uses the struct, that is there is no need to define the variable, that is struct. Like primary variables and array, structure variable can be initialized when they are declared. That is, we can also declare the structure variable like the similar variable that we have done. That is, when we are dealing with the normal variable that is declared, for example, we have to give the values like a equals to 10. In the same way, the structure variable that I have declared about after the defining the structure like b1, b2, b3, then we are also able to initialize the variable. This is the best example that is given. First of all, the char will be used, or name will be used as an array characters. That is of char name 10. That is, the char is the data type, name is the array name, and 10 is the number of characters. Then float price, that is price is the variable name, float is the data type. Then int pages, that is pages is the name of the variable and int is the data type. The same concept, but after the semicolon, that is in the next line, when we declare the structure variable, we have used about the b1 and the b2. That is two variable we have used. So we have to define like this one. Again use the struct book, then uses b1. Then you define the variable. We have to define the variable. That is means what is the name, or what is the content in the name, that is of 10 characters, that is for example basic, that will be terminated or that will be enclosed in the double quotes. Then this is the price, that is 130.00. Then these are the number of pages. Means we have to declare the variable in the same way when we declare the variable in the normal terms. In the same way we have we can declare the variable of the structure type. Then uses the next variable, that is the b2 physics 150.80 800. Note the following point while declaring a structure type. These are the various points that the closing brace in the structure type declaration must be followed by the semicolon. As I told you, this is mandatory, because if there is no semicolon, there will be an error. It is important to understand that a structure type declaration does not tell the compiler to reserve any space in memory. That is, structure type declaration does not tell in the compiler part. That is, this does not tell the compiler to reserve the space in the memory. All a structure declaration does it defines the form of the structure. That is the structure declaration. This is used to define the or get the space in the memory. Next point says, usually structure type declaration appears at the top of the source code file. That is, when we are writing the code, the structure declaration is generally appears at the top of the code, like the global variable, right, before any variable or functions are defined. That is inside the main, that is not the global, inside the main, but before declaring any function, any variable, anything. Means this is the starting of the program. That is after the main, this is the first part. In a very large program, they are usually put in a separate header file, and the file is including using the preprocessor directive, that is a hash include, in whichever program we want to use it structure type. That is, we can also declare the header type, or we are also able to give the header type for the structure variables. Now next topic is how to access the structure element, that how we are able to access the structure element. So first part we have over, that is how to declare the structure, that is this part. This is the way how we are declaring. the variables. This is the way how we are declaring the variables. This is how we are initializing the variable, that is give the value. This is how we are declaring the variables. This is the again declaring the variable. Now next part is how to access the structure elements, that is how to get the or how we are able to access the structure elements. So this says having declared the structure part and the structure variable. Now let us see how this can be accessed. In an array, we can access individual element of an array using a subscript. Structures uses a different scheme. So till now we have discussed about the array. In array, we can access the elements of the array with the subscript. What is the subscript? That is 0, 1, 2. That is under the square bracket. But structures uses a different scheme, different method. They use the dot operator. That is dot operator is used to store the or to get the values. So to refer to the pages of the structure that is defined in the sample program, we have to use this one. And that means if we are going to access the we are going to access the variables by using the we are going to access the data that is done by using the variables of the structure, that is for example b1 dot pages, that is these can be accessed by using the dot operator. So they use the dot operator. Similarly, to refer to the price, they are using the b1 dot price. So one is b1 dot pages, one is b1 dot price. Note that before the dot there must always be a structure variable, and after the dot there must be a structure element. That is before using the dot, that is this is before the dot, that is using the b1, that is before the dot there must be a structure variable, that is b1, and after the dot there must always a structure element. This is the element, this is the element. This is the element that is used. Name, price, pages. So these are known as the elements, and these are the data type, that is char, float, int. So these are the elements, and these are the variables. What are the variables? That is b1, b2, and b3. Now we have finished with the two parts, that is how to declare and how to access the elements. In simple terms, declare we are using either use the full line struct book and then declare the variable, or either go before the semicolon and after the curly brace, then define the variable, or we can also initialize the variables. So two parts are complete, that is declaration and the accessing the structure elements. Now next part is how structure elements are stored, that is how different elements of the structure are stored in the memory. But before this, let's take a break, because this is too much for today's class before break. So let's take a break for 5 to 10 minutes, then come back and then starting with this topic, that is how structure elements are stored. Let's take a break. Come back from the break. So now let's start with the next topic, how structure elements are stored. So that is the next topic, that is how we are storing the structure element in the memory. That is how we are able to store the elements in the memory. Till now we have discussed about how to declare the structure variable, how to initialize the structure variable. Now next part is how to store the structure variable in the memory. This is also the very easy topic, that is how to store the structure element. The same procedure as we follow in this one, the same procedure as we follow in that one. That is the same how we are accessing the elements, in the same way we are getting the how we are storing the addresses in the memory. Right. So now let's see how to get the how to start with this one. This says whatever be the elements of a structure, they are always stored in a contiguous memory location. So whatever be the elements of a structure, they are always stored in a contiguous memory location. The following program would illustrate this. So this is the program that is used to illustration of how structured elements are stored. This that is a memory map of the structure elements. That is how this will be accessed, and what is the address or sorry. That is how we are accessing the or address, and how we are able to print the addresses. This is the program. In the same way, the main function is used. As I told you, whenever we use the main function, the first target is to define the structure, that is a struct book. Then in the struct book there are three variables. One is of character type, one is of float type, one is of integer type. And then structure variable is terminated by using the semicolon, right? Then uses a struct book b1 equals to this one. That is, b1 is the variable name that is used to store the various elements, various features of the elements like name, price, and the pages. So name is the b, and the price is 150.00, and the pages is 550. Now I'm trying to get the address of the alright, Larry. So now how to print the address of the name, that is where the name will be stored. That is the next part. That is the address of the name equals to percentage u. As I told you, whenever we have to print the address of any memory location, then uses the specifier that is percentage u, that is the unsigned. Then how to print the address? By using the dot operator and uses the ampersand. So this ampersand is used to get the address, that is ampersand b1 dot name. That is ampersand b1 dot name is used to get the addresses or get the only name. So this is the address of the name where the name will be stored in the memory. That is ampersand b1 dot name. In the same way, address of price, that is the address of the price, is stored in the b1 dot price, that is accessed by using the ampersand operator. In the same way, address of pages equals to percentage u, that is the unsigned integer, then ampersand b1 dot pages. That is b1 dot pages is used, that is used along with the ampersand for storing the addresses of the pages. So one is used is b1 dot name, one is used is b1 dot price, b1 dot pages, and all the addresses are printed by using the specifier that is percentage u. Here is the output of the program. This is the output. So this is the output. The address of the name, for example, 65518, right? In the same way, address of price, this only contains the 1 byte. Why? Because address is of or the name is of character type, so char takes only 1 byte. Then address of price, that takes 4 bytes, then 65519 to the 65523, and the pages contain only 2 bytes. So if there is any next element, that will be stored at the 65525. Why 2 bytes? Because pages are of integer type, and int takes only 2 bytes in the memory. Actually, the structure elements are stored in the memory as shown in this figure. Like b1 dot name, the output is b. Here it is stored 65518 only for 1 byte. Then 65519, this is the price, that is the b1 dot price, that takes for the 4 bytes. Why? Because the float takes 4 bytes. Then b1 dot pages, that is 550 is the number of pages, 65523 is the memory location. This is the way how we are able to store the structure elements in the memory. That is how to deal with the different addresses. Now next concept is array of structures. That is how we are storing the array as a structure. That is how we are defining the multiple elements, multiple structure at the same time. Our sample program as showing usage of structure is rather than simple minded. All it does it receives value into the various structure element and output these values. But that's all we have, or we intended to do anyway, show how structure types are created. That is how structure types are created. This will be shown. How structure variables are declared and how individual elements are referenced. These are the main target. That is how structure types are created, how structure variables are declared, and how individual elements are referenced. So this is the main target in our sample program. So this is the example. to store data of 100 books, we would be required to use 100 different structure variable that is available from B1 to the B100. That is, there are or store the data of 100 books that will be required, or that will be used to store 100 different structure variable that is from B1 to the B100, which is definitely not very convenient. A better approach would be to use an array of structure, that is, suppose there are 100 books from B1 to the B100. So it is better to declare the array of the structure, that is a structure variable that is of array type. This is the example, that is how to use the array of structure. The same main function is used. Struct book, that is the structure name is book, that contains name, price and the pages, and then that will be closed by the curly brace, and that will be closed by the semicolon. Then struct book B100, that is the struct book is a book is the struct book is the that is the name or the keyword or the of the structure, and then B100, that is we are defining the variable that contains the 100 values, that is from 0 to 100, that is a B100. Then int I. Int I means declaring the variable I as an integer type. Then using the for loop that start with the 0 and end with the 99, because it runs for the 100 times. We have defined the B as an 100, so it start with the 0 and end with the 99, then I plus plus. Then in the for loop it is used as a printf and the scanf. So for printf, enter the name, price and the pages. In the scanf there is a %C, %F and the %D. And now di will be used. Why? Because there are n number of, there are 100 number of names, 100 number of prices and number of pages. So this is ampersand bi dot name, bi dot price, bi dot pages. Now next part is used to print the names, print the prices and print the pages. That is the 100 number of names, 100 number of prices and number of pages. Then uses the for loop, that is I equals to 0, I is less than equals to 99, I plus plus. Printf uses the /n, that is used for next line, %C, F, D. Then bi dot name, bi dot price, bi dot pages. That is the name variable is used, then price, then the pages. Then close the curly braces. So this is the one for loop that is used to store in the memory. This is the second for loop that is used for the printing purpose. Now next is link float, that is the next use is link float. Then uses the variable that is float a equals to 0 and pointer b. Now the link float function will be used, that is used to define, or in this we have to define the float a equals to 0, that is a is the float type that stores the value as a 0, and there is a pointer variable. What is the name of pointer variable? That is b. Then uses the b as a pointer variable to store or to get the address of a. Now the address of a will be stored in the variable that is a b. Then a equals to asterisk b, that is uses the variable, suppress the warning, variable not used. Then curly braces will be closed. Now a few comments about the program. What are the contents, why we are using this one? Notice that the array of structure is declared at this one, that is whenever we have to declare the variables or declare the variable of a structure, that will be declared by this type, that is n number of character, that is struct book B100, that is it will be stored, or it will store 100 variable, that is from 0 to 99. This provides space in the memory for 100 structures of the type struct book, that is struct book is the type that is used to store the 100 structures. The syntax we use to reference each element of the array B is similar to the syntax used for the array of the int and the char. That is the syntax that is used to reference every element of B is the same that is used for the array of the ints and the char. That is the same procedure that is used for when we declare the array of ints and when we declare the array of chars. For example, we refers to the 0th book's price as a B0 dot price. Similarly, for the first book that is b1 dot pages, and so on till 99, that is from 0 to 99. It would, next point said, it should be appreciated what careful thought Dennis Ritchie has put into the C language. He first defined array as a collection of similar elements, then realized that dissimilar data types that are often found in real life cannot be handled using the array. Therefore, created a new data type that is known as the structure. And this paragraph says that Dennis Ritchie invented a new concept, that is how to handle the different data type, or how to handle dissimilar data types. But even using structure programming convenience could not be achieved because a lot of variable, that is b1 to b100, for storing the data about the 100 box needed to be handled. Therefore, he allowed to create an array of structure, that is he allowed to create the different array of structure that is defining the variable, which themselves are a collection of dissimilar data types. Hats goes or hats off to the genius. In an array of structures, all the elements of the array are stored in adjacent memory location. That is, in an array of structure that is used, every element of the array are stored in contiguous memory location. Since each element of this array is a structure, and since all the structure elements are always stored in a similar or the adjacent location, you can very well visualize the arrangement of array of structures in the memory. That is, you can simply get the like b0's name, price, and pages in the memory, that will be followed by this one. So this paragraph, this point only says that every array element, whether it may be of structure type, whether it may be of any type, that will be stored in a contiguous memory location. Now next point, last point, say that what is the function of this one, that is why we are using this one. Doing here, if we don't define, you are bound to get the error floating point format not linked with the majority of C program. That is the why reason we are using this one, because we have defined the float type. So it is essential for compiler to compiler. So it depends on the compiler to compiler. Some compiler needs that it is essential to define the link float as a function. In this, three variables are used. One is A, one is B, and then stores the addresses of pointer A and B. So if we don't define it, it would bound to the error, that is a floating format not linked with majority of C programmers or C compilers. What causes this error to occur? That is when parsing. When parsing means when compiling the source code, the compiler encounters a reference to the address of a float. It sets a flag to have a linker link in the floating point emulator. A floating point emulator is used to manipulate floating point numbers in runtime library function. That is, a floating point emulator is used to manipulate different floating point number that is used in the runtime library functions like scanf and the ATOF. There are some cases in which the reference to the float is a bit obscure and the compiler does not detect the need of the emulator. That is, in so most of the cases there is no need of the emulator that is used. The most common is using the scanf to read a float in an array of structure as shown in the program. That is, in the program, scanf is used to get the to store the memory or store the different structure elements of the array, that is the array structure element in the memory. Then how we force the format to be linked? That is where the link format function comes in. That is, the link format function comes in. It will be used to store the data or link the data. It forces linking of the floating point emulator into an application. There is no need to call this function, just define it anywhere in your program. That is, there is no need to define the function. What is the there is no need to define this function anywhere over here. No, but only give the definition like this one, right? Now additional features of the structure, that is what are the additional feature. This says let us now explore the entrances of the structure with the view of programming convenience. These are the various additional features that is available in the structure. The first point says the value of a structure variable can be assigned to another structure of the same type. That is, we can assign the values like this one, like E1 equals to Sanjay 30 550.50. Why? Because this is the different example. First of all, the main function will be used, then using the struct employee, that is employee is the structure name that is of struct type. Then open the curly braces, uses the char name 10, that is name is the array that contains 10 variables from 0 to 9 that is of character type. Then age is also a variable that is of integer type. Salary is of also a variable that is of float type. Then this structure will be closed by using the curly braces, and that will be terminated by the semicolon. So this is the example that is used. Then uses struct employee E1. That is struct employee is the same scenario for declaring the variable, then E1 that is equals to Sanjay 30 5500.50. Then declare another variable, that is two variable, that is E2 and the E3. Then piecemeal copy, that is how to copy the data by using the strcpy function. So how to get or how to access the name by using the variable. What is the variable name? That is E2 dot name. That is the dot operator is used to get the data. That is the dot operator. Means E2 dot name and E1 dot name, that is what is contained in the E1 dot name, that is Sanjay will be copied to the E2 dot name, that is in the name variable of E2 type, the Sanjay will be copied from this to this one. That is next E2 dot age equals to E1 dot age, then age will be also copied from E1 to the E2. Then again the salary will be copied from E1 to the E2. So all the three elements are copied. One is name, one is age, one is salary. So now E1 also contains the Sanjay 30 550.50. In the same way, E2 also contains the value, the Sanjay 30 550.50. Now copying all the elements at one go. So this is another scenario, that how to copy every element uses the next variable, that is E2, that is equals to the E2. In this we have defined different types, that is E2.h, E1.h. In this we are only using the E2, and that E2 will be passed to the E3. That is every element of the E2 will be passed to the E3. Right. Then uses the printf statement for displaying the various arguments. That is E1.name, E1.age, E1.salary. So this means first of all every element of E1 will be printed like name, age and the salary. Every element of the E2 will be printed like name, age, salary. Every element of E3 will printed like name, age, salary. So this is the output, that is the Sanjay 30 550.50. Ability to copy the content of all structure element of one variable into the corresponding elements of another structure. That is, this is also ability that we have to copy the data from one part to the another part. That is rather surprising, since C does not allow assigning of one array to the another by equating the two. But this will be used in the structure variable. This copying of all the structure element at one go has been possible only because the structure elements are stored in a contiguous memory location. So if I write E3 equals to E2, that is every element of the E2 will be stored in the E3. That means at the one go all the elements are copied. That will be possible only when or only if it will be stored in a contiguous memory location. Had this not been so, would be required to copy the structure variable element by element. And who knows, had been this so, structure would now become popular at all. Now next point says one structure can be nested within another structure. That is, we have to nest or we have to define one structure within the another structure. That is nesting of the structures. Using this facility, complex data types can be created. Whenever there is a complex data type that will be created by using the nesting of the structure. The following program shows nested structure at work. The main function is used, right? Then struct address, that is one variable is used, that is of one structure is used, that is of address, that contains phone number, city and the pin. So char phone 15, that contains 15 characters, that is from 0 to 14. Char city, that also contains 25 5 characters, that starting from 0 and ending with 24. Then int pin, that is used to store the pin, that is used to store the pin. Pin is an integer variable that is used to store the integer variables, right? Then that will be terminated by the curly brace and then semicolon. Then uses another structure. What is another structure? That is the EMP, that contains two types. One is of name, that is of 25, that start from 0 ending with 24. Then uses another structure variable. This is the structure variable, that is of address, that will be defined in the next structure variable, that is the EMP, that has a struct address A. That is the A will be used as a variable of the structure address. So this means nesting of the structure. One structure will be used in another structure, like address structure will be used in an EMP structure. Now uses this one, that is defines the variable of the EMP, that is the E, then stores the value. What is the name? That is a 0. How is this will become? Because in the next line we have declared about the A. So A contains all the values that is available for the address structure, that is the phone number, city and the pin. So this is the phone number, this is the city and this is the pin. Now print the value, that is name equals to this one, percentage %s. Why percentage %s? Because it is in string. Why phone equals to percentage %s? Because it is in string. This is in string, not in the numeric. Why? Because we have defined the phone, that is the phone number, in the char type. Then e.a1 dot pin, dot phone. This is okay. In the next line we have to print the city and the pin, that is a1 dot city and the pin. So one is a1 name and the phone, in next line city and the pin. This is the output, that is name equals to 0, phone equals to this one, then city equals to Nagpur and the pin equals to 10. Notice the method used to access the elements of the structure, that is a part of another structure. For this the dot operator is used twice. That is, if we have to access the elements of the another structure, like this one, e1 dot a1 dot ct. This is the same because the employee contains the name as well as the phone number, right? But if we have to access the elements of the address, so we have to use the to operator, that is e1 dot a. A means the variable of the structure address, that is the a dot ct, that is the city and the pin, right? So this says that dot operator will be used twice. Of course, the nesting process need to stop at this level. We can nest a structure within a structure, that is within a structure which is still another structure, and so on, till the time we have comprehended the structure ourselves. So we can define n number of structure within the n number of structure. Such construction, however, gives rise to variable name that can be surprisingly self-descriptive. For example, this one. These are the multiple structures that will be opted by using different dot operator. This clearly signifies that we are referring to the quantity of the large size bolts that fit on an engine of a Maruti car. So this is the example. So these are the various points. So I'm not going to continue with these points. So let's stop over here only. These points I will discuss in the next class. So let's stop over here only. Now, if you have any doubts, then please ask the doubts from me and I will answer you. So in the today's class, we have finished about we have started with the structure, and there is some part that is left for the structure. I think 2-3 pages are left. Yeah, 7 pages are left. That is that I will cover in the next chapter, next class, that is in the Monday's class. So that's all for today's session. Now, if you have any doubts, then please ask the doubts from me. So that's all. Thanks a lot, everyone. Now, next class will be on Monday. That is on the 1st of December. So that's all for today's session. Thank you so much everyone. Bye bye.